So Illinois fans, how we feeling? How we feeling? Wow, what a game! What a game! Oregon fans, I'm gonna do my best to recap this in such a way that doesn't go off the rails, but we're gonna definitely have to give Illinois fans a lot of flowers in this one. So, but I will give good analysis, pros and cons of each team, like I always do. But overall, Illinois, what a game! I think this speaks more about Illinois being the best team in the Big Ten rather than it speaks to Oregon being fraudulent or anything like that, right? If anybody comes away from this game saying, "Oh, Oregon was fraudulent," I don't think that's the case. I think that Illinois was clicking on all cylinders tonight as they were able to beat Oregon at Oregon 109-77 in a high stakes road game, one that I came on and previewed a little bit with Sonny Verma on Locked On Illini. We talked about this game and talked about how Nate Biddle was really the one you had to watch in this one. And Nate Biddle had himself 21 minutes. He got himself didn't get himself into any foul trouble, but only 5 rebounds, only 13 points for Nate Biddle. When you're able to limit Nate Biddle like that, it's a huge sticking point for your team and to be able to take down Oregon. So Illinois, fantastic performance by so many different players. We'll get into it, but Illinois breaking Oregon's defense, a great shooting performance, notable player contributions. We'll get into it all. Let's start with the first half. Illinois went slow to begin. They were 0 for 7 to begin things in the first half, and then from there they started catching fire. They hit 7 of 9 from three in the last 10 minutes of the first half, and they ended with 45 points. It was really insane to see an Illinois team struggle at the beginning. Like I said, 0 for 7 to go to scoring 45 points in the first half. It was just really good to see for Illinois fans. Illinois fans obviously are going to take that every single time, but the defense did need to see some improvements as they did allow Oregon to score 38 points. So this was still a 7 point game, but you felt like even though Oregon had 38, you felt like this was a game that Illinois was in control of and was going to, I don't want to say run away with, but remain in control of if they kept doing what they were doing. Illinois' bench stepped up in a big way, particularly Jake Davis in the first half had himself, I believe, what was it, 12 points? Yeah, Jake Davis had 12 points. The transfer, 5 of 6 from shooting, 2 of 2 from 3 point land. Dre Gibbs-Longhorn also had 11 points, 5 of 6 from shooting, 1 for 2 from 3 point land. So when you're able to get that kind of production from bench players like Jake Davis and Trey Gibbs-Longhorn, and I don't mean any disrespect by saying guys like them, but these are not your particular players who are going to come out hot and really get going early. These are players that you kind of put in and have them work through and you have them work through the offense and you have them get what comes to them. But Jake Davis and Dre Gibbs Longhorn were able to do a lot while the defense of Oregon was focusing on other players. And I think it just really speaks to the ability for Illinois to be able to beat you in so many different ways, right? This isn't just a KJ team. This isn't just an Avicic team. This isn't just a Ben Humrichous team or anything. This is a team in Illinois who can beat you in multiple different ways. And if you try to dial in on one guy too much, guess what? They have Jake Davis off the bench. They have Dre Gibbs Longhorn off the bench. Will Riley didn't even score a single point in this game, but he is still a player that at any point in time could get hot and do a very good job. So you love to see those players stepping up for Illinois, and good defense as well in the first half. Like I said, 38 points, but it still felt like a game that Illinois was kind of taking control of because Morez Johnson Jr. and the rest of the Illini team provided solid interior defense, holding Oregon for 9 for 22 on layups. It was very good defense from Illinois, and even though, like I said, Oregon had 38 points in the first half, you felt like Illinois was dominating the game. Oregon had a solid start. They were leading 7-2, but their defense quickly fell apart, allowing Illinois to go on a 12-0 run. Oregon's struggle was shooting inconsistencies. Turnovers were key factors that contributed to Illinois' halftime start as Oregon turned the ball over 8 times in the first half of this game. Questionable passes, questionable sets on offense. The team looked lost on offense at times. Teams had brain fart mistakes at times. It was just not a very good performance when it comes to sharing the ball and being able to work together as a team, and that's why you found yourself with 8 turnovers in this one. Let's see. What was I going to get to next? Oh, Oregon's bench underperformed compared to Illinois, only contributing 11 points in the first half, which is not terrible, right? Like, if you get 11 points from your bench in the first half, if you scored 30 points, you're feeling pretty good about it. The problem was Illinois got so much more out of their bench. So when you look at the comparison there, it really wasn't fair for Illinois and what they got with Dre Gibbs-Longhorn and Jake Davis. Moving on to the second half and what that was able to bring for the teams. Illinois opened up the second half with an explosive 20-4 run. It really kind of gave you vibes of UConn last year when UConn went on that huge, what was it, like 30 some point run against Illinois. Obviously, it wasn't that big, but 20-4 run to open up a half is huge. They expanded their lead to over 20 in this one. Ben Humrichous, his resurgence after, and I've been a critic of Ben Humrichous at times, and Brad Underwood trusting him a little bit too much, but this was the game where it felt like Brad Underwood kind of looked at me or anybody else that was questioning him and said, "Yeah, see, this is what this guy can do." He finishes his game 18 points, 7 of 11 for shooting, 4 of 7 from 3-point land, added 2 rebounds. Still want to see him rebound a little bit more, but you can't complain too much when Tre White gets 11 rebounds, Avicic gets 8 rebounds, and KJ gets 6 rebounds. I mean, this was an Illinois team that out rebounded Oregon 43-31 in this game. So just all around, great job rebounding the ball by them. Kasparas Jakucionis, KJ as I call him, rebounded from first half foul trouble to contribute 16.6 rebounds and 6 assists in the second half alone. He really wasn't in the game all that much. So it was good for him to be able to showcase his talent in the second half. And really, that was kind of one of the pieces that was able to bring Illinois so much further ahead, because what they were able to do in the first half without some of their key players like KJ was impressive and spectacular, but they didn't have to lean on that. They got KJ back. Ben Humrichous started getting going, and they was really just sayonara Oregon. Kylan Boswell hit back-to-back threes when Oregon tried to close the gap, maintaining Illinois' control in this game. And Oregon, let's face it, their defense just started collapsing in this one. Oregon allowed Illinois to shoot 71% from the field in the second half, including 75% from three. Some of the numbers in the second half. You have Ben Humrichous going 4 for 5. These are all in the second half alone. 4 for 5 from three. You have Kylan Boswell going 2 for 2 from three. KJ going 2 for 2. Will Riley hit a three, so he went 1 for 2 after not scoring at all in the first half. It was just a dominant performance, and you can't say enough good things about Illinois. Oregon, they failed to adjust despite small offensive runs. Oregon failed to sustain momentum, giving up multiple runs, ending up down by as many as 32 at one point in this game. Free throw struggles as well. If you do want to point to something good for Oregon, you want to point to Supreme Cook and the effort that he was giving in this one. He had off the bench, and a lot of his damage was done in the second half, as 14 of his 20 points were in the second half, but he did score 20 in the game, 8 of 11, did not shoot a three at all, but 4 for 6 from the free throw line in only 18 minutes of play. So 20 points in 18 minutes. That's some really good production there. Key player performances, guys that you got to look at, guys that you got to be proud of if you're an Illinois fan. You're looking at Tre White. You're looking at Ben Humrichous. You're looking at Kasparas Jakucionis, Kylan Boswell. I mean, obviously, Kasparas Jakucionis, we are aware of how great he is. He is possibly the best point guard in the Big Ten. There's a lot of good point guards in the Big Ten. Braden Smith, Dylan Harper, but Kasparas Jakucionis right now is playing like the best point guard in the Big Ten, if you ask me. His playmaking, his scoring ability in the second half gave Illinois a spark that they needed to secure the win. Tre White had himself a double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, added 4 assists to that as well. He was crucial both offensively and defensively, what he was able to do against the players of Oregon. It was just inspiring to the entire Illini team. Like I said, we mentioned Ben Humrichous, we mentioned Kylan Boswell, and then we mentioned Supreme Cook for Oregon, and Nate Biddle too. Like I said, Nate Biddle didn't really get his normal stuff, 13 points, 5 rebounds in this one, but he only played 21 minutes. So he was able to get some of what he was, kind of expected to get. But at the end of the day, Illinois just pulled ahead. And at a certain point, it's like, yeah, Nate, sit down. Let's not get hurt. Let's not, let's not let this, do anything to you. It's just the way this game is going to be. And so we're going to sit you down. Pros and cons of both teams. Let's start with the pros for both teams. Illinois, dominant from 3-point range, 16 of 29. If you get this kind of 3-point shooting from Illinois, you're not going to beat them. I am convinced if Illinois plays good in all areas, like not amazing, not perfect, but if they just play good in all areas, you're not going to defeat this Illinois team when they shoot 16 for 29 from 3. The bench depth was, like I said, excellent in the first half. Excellent ball movement as well. That added to a lot of Oregon's defensive issues. They were just constantly turning their head, not knowing where the ball was, not knowing what they were able to do. 17 assists in this game total for Illinois, and strong interior defense. Like I said, Morez Johnson Jr. Was huge in this one for them. I forget how many blocks they had. Tre White had himself 2 blocks in addition to Morez Johnson's 2 blocks. Colin Boswell had a block as well. He had 5 steals in this game. That's something that I've said we need to see more of Illinois this year if we want to see this team really kind of reach its potential and what they can do. So 5 steals in this game overall is good. Oregon's pros, I did feel like they had solid defensive plays at times. They couldn't sustain it, right? They couldn't get the offense to go with the defense to kind of give them the momentum that they needed. And when the offense wasn't there for the momentum, Illinois just kind of took it and ran with it. And that's what happens when you don't play a complete game against Illinois. If I had to give some cons for Illinois, if I had to, early foul trouble, like I said, for KJ, got to make sure he doesn't get into that. And then a slow start in the game, particularly the 3-point shooting. You can't really have that as well. So got to clean those things up. And then for Oregon, there's a number of different cons that I could get to for them. Poor shooting from behind the arc, 5 of 15. Lack of bench support outside of Supreme Cook. Defensive breakdowns, particularly in the second half, allowing Illinois to score basically at will at times. And then turnovers in this game, right? The total turnovers turned out to be 10. Now, they did improve in the second half. Only 2 turnovers in the second half, but still, you cannot have a half of basketball with 8 turnovers going up against this Illinois team. So, conclusions and takeaways. Both of these teams are NCAA tournament teams. Like I said, I think this game was more about Illinois than anything else. Oregon, they have some things that need to be addressed on this team. Although they had some big wins and they had a very solid record, there are still things on this team that need to be addressed. And then Illinois, this is rather bold, and I'm okay with that being bold because I do truly believe that if Illinois is able to play their best, if Illinois is able to give you their best, and I think what we saw tonight was, if not Illinois' best, very, very close to Illinois' best. Illinois is a top 5 team in the country if they can give you their best consistently. Now, they do have young players. They do have a good amount of freshmen on this team, but they are international players who have played basketball at a high level before too. So they're still kind of getting used to American college basketball, which normally freshmen you would be a little concerned, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting journey. Can Illinois play at this top elite level that they played at tonight at a consistent basis? It really comes down to coaching. Can Brad Underwood get this out of this team on a consistent basis? I think Brad Underwood's one of the best coaches in the nation. Top 15, if not top 10 coach in the nation. And so if you ask me, I think he can. We're just going to have to see how often can he get it to happen. Illinois is my number 1 team in the power rankings after this one. UCLA popped up there for a little bit because of the win over Gonzaga, but my power rankings, I just think Illinois, their best of the best, is better than anybody else in the Big Ten. So if you have Illinois and any other team playing their best game against each other, Illinois, in my mind, is going to win. Home, neutral, away, doesn't matter. This game was away, and Illinois was able to do a lot. So great game for Illinois. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any thoughts on Illinois, the Oregon performance, anything like that, would love to get you guys' thoughts. If you're an Illinois fan, how high do you think you should be in the rankings, right? Only 22 last week. I've always felt like Illinois should be higher. It's got to be at least top 15 right? After a win like this, especially on the road, it's got to be at least top 15. So great win for Illinois. Oregon, back to the drawing board. Still believe in this team. Still think this can be a very good team, but we'll see where we go from here. So great for being here. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Have a good one.